Hello, dear students. How are you all? I hope you well. So today we are moving on to the second chapter of class 10 chemistry. So that is acids, bases, and salts. So in the lower classes, you might have studied about what do you mean by acids. Suppose when you take lemon juice, what kind of taste you are getting? The taste will be somewhat sour. And similarly, so you might have come across definitions of acids, bases, and salts. You might have familiar with all these terms. So in today's video, we will discuss about what are the general differences between acids, bases, and especially. So what do you mean by acid? So many of you might have while you test mango, unripe mango, so you'll be your mouth will be what somewhat sore. And similarly, you can see what are the general properties of acids. Acids are generally sour to taste, sour in taste. Then the next property is that they will change blue litmus to red. So we already seen that. What do you mean by litmus paper? Litmus paper, it is a natural indicator. So that indicates whether the given substance is acidic in nature or basic in nature. So yeah, especially when you contact litmus paper with acids, it will change its color to from blue to red. And third definition is in terms of H plus ions. So what will happen when acid is diluted in water? So it will produce H plus ions. As you can see here, HCl, hydrochloric acid. That is an example of acid. And similarly, we can see H2SO4. So in these two situations, we can see another acid, ethanoic acid or acetic acid. In that also, hydrogen is present. So hydrogen is common to all the acids. So we can define an acid in terms of uh, the ability of the substance to produce H plus ions when an acid is dissolved in water. So that's the third point. The next point, acid will corrode metals and some examples of strong acid. So what do you mean? We might have also studied about two differences, different type. One is called strong acid and another is called weak acid. So for examples of strong acid, that are hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, and examples of weak acids are acetic acid, ethanoic acid, and citric acid. And similarly, we can see the acid that is present in lemon, that is known as citric acid. Suppose if you cut a piece of lemon and bring a small piece of blue litmus paper, and if you touch with it with lemon, what will happen? You can see the blue color of the litmus paper now slowly change to red color. So another term related to acid, that is concentrated acid and dilute acid. So what do you mean by concentrated acid? The meaning itself suggests the quantity of acid in the solution will be more compared to the amount of water present in the acid. And what do you mean by dilute acid? Dilute acid, the quantity of acid will be less, at the same water will be more. Now let us look at the what are the major properties, what are the major differences between acids and bases, of which we are going to look at the major properties of bases. So first one, so let us see bases taste bitter, and second one, they will turn red litmus to blue color. And you might have already seen that. Suppose an example, general example of a base, that is soap. A soap, once you take a small piece of red litmus paper and just wet it nicely, and if you keep it in touch with soap, slowly it will change its color to blue. And the third one is that, suppose for example, NaOH, it's a strong base. You can see another example, potassium hydroxide or calcium hydroxide. So in all these things, we can see hydroxide ion, that is common in all the bases. So we can see the bases, we can define bases in such a way that bases are substances that can generate OH minus ions or hydroxide ions in aqueous solutions. And the next one, soap, they are soapy to touch. Suppose if you take sodium hydroxide pellets and if you keep in your hand, so it will be somewhat soapy, and that doesn't mean that you need to test it in such a way. So if you keep it in for a long time on your hand or in your palm, so it will burn your skin. So it is highly corrosive, especially these are concentrated bases. And examples of strong bases or strong bases, they are sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide. And one example for weak base, that is known as ammonium hydroxide. So soap is an example. Soap is an example for what? A natural basic substance. So this is what about we discuss in this particular video. So this definition, and especially in terms of definition of acid and base, especially acid in terms of hydrogen and base in terms of hydroxide ion. This is very important for us. So this definition you must remember, and these points of differences once you note down to your copy and revise it well, and remaining topic you will study in the next video. Okay, thank you.